So then, let's take you through the first starting grid of the 2023 BNL Karting Series kickoff. It is Heat 1, Minimax, Groups B versus C. This is your starting grid. From pole position, fastest in one of the groups earlier on today, Cole Denham from the United Kingdom will be joined by Ryan Rivers on the front row. Lars Lambers and Kai Clark on row 2, Albert Friend and Maxime Becker rounding out the top 3 rows. Vic van Kampenhout and Carlos Nees, row 4, with Felipe Reyes and Jent Moonen rounding out the top 10. Then we have Thomas Verheyen and Alexander Van Meeuwen rounding out the top 12. Adrien Stiens and Max Moore rounding out the top 14, with Zen Lindemann, Juliana Marie Schultz on row 8. Jonathan Valkenburg, Pauline Van Preet rounding out row 9. Completing the top 20, Lucas Stordeur and Bran van der Weken, Charles Keightley, Seys Moyes, Mads Kraft, and Ryan Rampadarath rounding out the full grid. And a very warm welcome to Switzerland. Andreas Schön and the family are watching, so good to hear from you as well. Please feel free to get involved on the official YouTube chat as well. You do need to be a subscriber for at least 5 minutes before you can put your comments in, and I'll try and give you all a shout out whenever I can. So the drivers now are getting primed. We're on the first formation lap of the 2023 season, and it's really lovely to be back in the commentary box here at the home of champions. A perfect way to kickstart the 2023 season. So each of the heats today for all classes will be 10 minutes plus an additional lap. The red lights are ignited on the starting gantry. God, it feels good to say those words once again after a little bit of a lengthy time away from this particular circuit. 10 minutes are on the timer, plus one additional lap. It's Cole Denham on pole position. Ryan Rivers alongside. Good luck to every single competitor here this weekend as we are primed, raring to go, and set to go full throttle the moment the red lights go out for the first of 15 races today. All 24 drivers in the customary side-by-side rolling start formation. The Rotax Roar returns to Karting Enkers. Into the tram lines we go, and we get a false start for the first race of the weekend. So, there's a little bit of anticipation in the air, isn't there? And to be honest with you, sometimes it's good to get that out of their system, but if the race director is not happy with what is going on in the race formation, then a full start will be called. So down through into the turn 7 chicane, off of the Europlan they go, through into the right-hand sweeper. This circuit, 1,360 metres, 12 turns in all, and it has provided some spectacular racing over the past 15 years. The likes of Max Verstappen, Bijtske Visser, Linus van Kamthout, Thomas Preining, Glenn van Berlo have made their mark in this championship to move forward to where they are competing now. But it's these young stars, these young hopefuls, looking one day to move up to the higher echelons. But karting is the groundwork, the foundation that kickstarts that journey ahead of them. So, red lights reignited on the starting gantry. Second time of asking. The Rotax engines roar into life, into the tram lines. Revs rise. Are we ready? Are we steady? We are lights out and underway for the first race of the season. It's a 3-way drag into turns 1 and 2. As it's 3 abreast, they can use the runoff area. It looks like Carlos Nees was one of the drivers doing so. Gets a little bit caught up. It's 3 wide coming out of turn number 4. But there is someone at the front of the field, looks to be Cole Denham, that has already sprinted away with Ryan Rivers trying to close him down. From 6th position backwards, there is an absolute freight train of Minimax drivers down the Europlan into turn 7 for the opening lap. So some very, very quick dicing for position, including between the likes of, oh, now someone was up in the air and the front axle was it skyward. Might have been, that was a GKS driver, possibly the 127 of Alexander Van Meeuwen from Belgium. He started in 12th position, but Cole Denham leads the way ahead of Ryan Rivers. Third, it's Kai Clark from the UK, rounding out the top three. Might have been a little bit of a touch with Maxime Becker coming out of turn number 9 that sent Alexander Van Meeuwen's front bumper and front axle skywards. Cole Denham leading the way. Bit of a move up the inside. That was through on Lars Lambers, courtesy of Germany's Maxime Becker through turn 6. But Kai Clark really closing in for third position at the moment. Or closing in from third position onto second. Ryan Rivers not too far ahead of him as they go through turn 10. Albert Friend currently residing in fourth position, so 3 Brits occupying positions in the top 4. Behind them, Maxime Becker is leading the freight train. Also got Thomas Verheyen in that mix as well. Verheyen in 7th. Alexander Van Meeuwen in 8th. Felipe Reyes and Carlos Nees complete the top 10. Maxime Becker's a bit between a rock and a hard place at the moment because it's a case of do I attack or do I defend? Now into turn 6, the German goes for the move up the inside. Neatly retakes the position back from Lars Lambers. Through turn 6 onto the Europalan. That's one of the biggest opportunities to get slipstream. As is the run coming out of turn number 9 down towards the right-hand sweeper at turn 10, just off of the main brasserie here at the circuit. It is side by side just behind Maxime Becker as a move and a half there from Felipe Reyes. Young Dutchman now up past Alexander Van Meeuwen and also Lars Lambers. So Lambers dropping down the order. Cole Denham, however, has had his lead somewhat truncated. For Ryan Rivers now just under 2.5 tenths behind it, side by side a little bit further back. Lucas Soder going into battle with Carlos Nees. That was for position as it's getting a bit too close for comfort through turns 3, 4 and 5. They're all over the places in trying to find track position. Some close racing, 6 minutes and 35 seconds on the timer, plus an additional lap remains. So the top 3 might be joined by a 4th member of that crew, making it a quartet. Depending on Albert Friend, Ryan Rivers is the quickest driver out there. Last lap around by the 123, 59.270, as there's more dueling into turn number 10, which involved Lars Lambers, I believe. Well, looks like Felipe Reyes has got a wriggle on as well. Now up behind Maxime Becker and closing in. He's right in the slipstream. Is the 107 on the 157 from Germany running into turns 1 and 2. Top 3/4 of a second adrift of each other from front to rear. As now that is a brilliant move if he pulls that off. Brilliantly done by Felipe Reyes up the inside of Maxime Becker. Got the whole shot coming out of turn number 3 and made the move stick by turn 5. With them is also now the recovering Alexander Van Meeuwen. Felipe Reyes having to go defensive, but at the front of the field, it is still Cole Denham ahead of Ryan Rivers. Kai Clark in 3rd, running a little bit wide coming out of turn number 9. Albert Friend in 4th position. 5th, it's now Felipe Reyes from the Netherlands. And Ryan Rivers is closing in. We're nearly at the halfway point of this race, just over 5 minutes to go. And Rivers is fancying an opportunity at going for the victory. Rivers is within a kart length of Denholm going through into turn number 2, now into the left at 3. This is where you really pick up momentum and also sideways lateral grip. Through into turn 6 onto the Europalan. Denholm takes the conventional racing line, as does Rivers. They have slightly dropped Kai Clark in 3rd position. Not too sure if I actually heard a slightly noisy exhaust at one point through the field. But the battle at the front of it is still very, very closely contested. So 4 minutes and 10 seconds on the timer remains. Cole Denham has led from lights out so far, but Ryan Rivers is trying to close in. Meanwhile, behind them in the battle for third place, Kai Clark and Albert Friend are within 0.3 of each other. Make that 0.217 as Lucas Dorder makes the move on Alexander Van Meeuwen for 7th place through into turn number 2. A neat manoeuvre by the 117 from Boovin Power. Into turn number 6 off of the Europalan. And, well, a nice little move by Charles Kitely. And that was on Belgium's Jent Pimoonen through into turn number 6. So that would be for the last position in the top 10. Drivers making their way down through in towards turn number 10 once more. At the moment, Cole Denham has got the measure of Ryan Rivers at this point. Albert Friend, meanwhile, is close and then some to the back of Kai Clark through turn 12. Battle for third position is really starting to intensify as Rivers closing in. Albert Friend looking for the opportunity through into turn 2 on Kai Clark, but the 191 from Strawberry Racing can't make it through. This might allow Felipe Reyes, who's currently in 5th position, who's in a little bit of no man's land at the moment, is able to push forward. Felipe Reyes is the fastest driver once again. 58.905 seconds for the 107 representing the Netherlands. And there's the move from Albert Friend up the inside through turn 8 on Kai Clark to get 3rd position. Good manoeuvre there from the 191. 2.25 minutes still to go, plus an additional lap. Cole Denham continues to hold on to that lead. About to complete lap number 8 as Kai Clark goes on to the counter-offensive towards Albert Friend and a little bit further back. Well, Lucas Dorder is making moves up the order, looking side by side. Up the inside he goes through on Maxime Becker through turn number 2 and makes the move stick. So Lucas Dorder, that makes it now 6th position. A little bit of side-by-side action a little bit further back towards just outside of the top 10. Cole Denham again feeling the heat under the collar, courtesy of Ryan Rivers. And Felipe Reyes is now closing in on Cole Denham and Albert Friend. Through turn number 11. 1 minute and 15 on the timer. Ryan Rivers has yet to show his hand of cards. Could do so towards the end of this race. Albert Friend looks over his left shoulder, sees both Kai Clark and now Felipe Reyes, who's within 2.1 seconds of the lead. Felipe Reyes has just also been putting in more fastest laps, 58.781. And now we're waiting for that move. Ryan Rivers has not pulled the trigger quite yet. He waited, looked to go through into turn 6, but thought better of it. Might tee it up, as we'll have, depending on how quickly they get to the finish line. We've got 30 seconds on the timer remaining. Cole Denham has done a sterling job at the front end of the field. Ryan Rivers just really waiting for his time to strike. 15 seconds as they come out of turn number 11. That's how much time remaining on the clock there is. Out of turn 12. 2 laps to go. They cross the line with 4 seconds on the timer remaining. Now on to lap number 11 out of 12 as Albert Friend goes side pod to side pod with Felipe Reyes, who had actually in the meantime managed to make it up into P3. Through onto the Europalan. Felipe Reyes sweeps to the outside of Albert Friend. Kai Clark takes the traditional racing line through into turn 6 onto the back straightaway where they are actually passing traffic going through. So the timer has officially expired. 1 more lap to go. Ryan Rivers now has to decide, does he go with solid finishes or does he go to start off the weekend with a win? Through into turn 12, for the penultimate time. Lap 11 now completed. One more lap remains. Third, fourth and fifth. That's Friend, Felipe Reyes and Kai Clark really encroached in that battle there. Lucas Torder, Maxime Becker, Lars Lambers, Alexander Van Meeuwen and Jent Thimoonen rounding out the top 10. But now Rivers is starting to push, trying to see if Denon will make an uncharacteristic, unforced error. They're going nearly side by side as Rivers looks to the inside through off of the Europolan and he spins and Denon tags the barriers and goes over the cones. Oh, Rivers was looking, Denon saw it coming, anticipated it. And now this is really, well, I did not expect that kind of drama to happen on the last lap. Well, I've seen it before many a time, but then look at what's happening behind. Oh, bit of a squiggle on the back axle from Albert Friend. As out of the final corner, the race victory is going to go to Cole Denon, but by a whisker. Felipe Reyes takes second. Albert Friend takes third. Lucas Torder and Kai Clark were covered by 0.774 of a second after 12 laps of racing. Well, that was definitely one to remember, if I'm completely honest with you. Cole Denon, despite the fact that Ryan Rivers was trying to get through off of the Europolan, and unfortunately, it didn't quite work out the way that Felipe Reyes, well, not Felipe Reyes, Ryan Rivers would have wanted. So Cole Denon provisionally takes the race win. Felipe Reyes in second by just over 0.18 of a second. Albert Friend in third, Lucas Torder in fourth, Kai Clark in fifth place. Lars Lambers started on P3, finished sixth. Maxime Becker seventh, Alexander Van Meeuwen eighth. Charles Keightley, Jent Thimoonen, Vic van Kampenhout, Thomas Verheyen, Carlos Nees, Zen Lindemann, Ryan Rivers running at the top 15, covered by 9.1 seconds at the end of that race. Max Moore, Adrian Stions, Ryan Rampadarath starting from last on the grid, finishing in 18th. Mads Kraft, Bran van der Weken, Seis Moyes, Jonathan Falkenberg, Pauline van Preet and Joliena Marie Schultz rounding out the 24 strong.